Okay, and I believe we are live and being recorded. And welcome everyone to this first session from the UK this morning. Quite a cold morning here. So we have Hewan from Agere Treasures and Kathy from Fairtrade Gemstones, who are going to have a chat for the next half an hour or so. I'm going to disappear off the stage, and you can take it from there. And I'll be back just before the end of the time. So have a great chat.
All right. Thank you.
Right. Well, hello, Hewan. And as you know, I'm Kathy Chappell, and I'm from Fairtrade Gemstones, linked in with Columbia Gem House. And I also do Canada Mark Diamonds. But I'm going to ask you about yourself. So we've only met briefly. So if you would like to tell me all about your business and yourself and where you live and where you work and where your mines are, the floor is yours.
All right. So currently I'm doing this from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, but I usually live in the state, Seattle, Washington, Linwood in the US. And I've been living there for the past 15 years. And I've been doing a gem trade, how many years? About 9 years. But I studied gemology in GIA 15 years ago, and I started to do working on the retail, and I had a passion to do jewelry designs, and then I end up getting to the trade when Ethiopia has discovered the Ethiopian opal in 2009. That's when I was able to get into the business, when I saw all the gemstones coming to the trade shows in Denver and Arizona, and I start to see everybody selling it for so cheap and then being devaluated, and I was like, that's when I decided to get into the business. I said, you know what, I'm going to support them. They need to know the knowledge of the gemstones. So we need to put up the value in the gemstones, because it was unbelievably so cheap, and it was a new mine site being discovered. So that's when I started the business pretty much, and start to buy from Ethiopian suppliers in the trade shows, and I start to get involved with people in the ground in Ethiopia, from family members, start to get the news, sourcing. And also after a few years later, they start to discover, the past 5 years, been discovered sapphire, emerald, morganite, tourmaline, and garnet, green garnet. A lot of different kind of gemstones has been discovered in Ethiopia in different regions. So for me, it was an exciting news, to get into this is my home, and there is a lot of miners and suppliers and brokers. So I decided to get into, since I noticed all the devaluating of the material due to the lack of education, of knowledge of the gemstones, because Ethiopia is just new for this business. And I decided, like, you know what, I'm going to start to help support the miners, start to source, cut all the chain and trying to pay a fair trade price from the miners, and we can add value on the material and bringing into the US market mostly. And that's what I've been doing. And in the past 3 years, so recently I have joined for the Ethical Gem Suppliers Group. We have formed this one as from all over the world. We had Anza Gems, 1948, Capricorns, and Columbia Gem, and and the Rutherite Quartz, Brian, it's called Geometry, I think, this one. So I joined, we have all the same mission and objectives on supporting artisanal miners in the ground and adding value on the gemstone trade. And we use traceability direct from where we're sourcing our materials in Ethiopia. So I was excited to join these groups, and because we have the same mission and objectives. So currently I'm sourcing my gemstones direct from the miners. Opals I haven't been bought for many years, until recently I started to buy from women miners in Ethiopia. They're not miners, but they're like lapidarists, because the women, they cannot go inside the mine site. It's very small, it's labor intensive, it's mostly male are doing it, and it's very high risk. So there are association where I found women miners, young women, lapidarists, they're called women miners. I've been buying my opals from them, and also we have family-related supply from Shakiso for the emeralds, and we're sourcing from there. So pretty much now I came to Ethiopia after many years to establish the business, creating education, for working with the government, trying to collaborate, sharing some knowledge of gemology, value addition, lapidaries, and also jewelry design. So I've been here now the past 3 months here.
Where do you find your market, Hewan? Where would you say that you sell to mainly? Is it in the US, or are you increasing sales worldwide now?
Before I used to do only in the US, but now since we have the, we created the Ethical Gem Supplier website, and pretty much the pandemic and stuff, and I mean this situation has giving me an opportunity for me to sell worldwide. Before last year, we did Arizona shows, and I used to do local shows in the US mostly, but currently I'm going to be selling worldwide, global market for everywhere. I can supply direct from Ethiopia. We have some stuff from, ship out. We have stocks in the US. We're going to be working with 1948 as well, or Adam, somebody else in London, we can supply our items in France and Spain. Now we found some other people. So we'll be selling our product everywhere.
Brilliant. Well done.
Thanks.
It's quite a history. So would you like to know a bit about me? Because I'm
sure. Yes, I really want to know, because I know about you very briefly, but I would like to know about. I know you represent.
I feel like the grandmother in all of this now, because I've been involved all over the world with mines as a child. My father was a mining engineer, so I got trekked round. We were constantly moving. We started off in Canada, in Red Lake up in the Northern Territories, which was quite something. And then we've just constantly traveled. So one of the first mines that I can say I spent any length of time as an adult in is the Gravel Emerald mine in South Africa, up in the Limpopo province. That's very, very, very beautiful. And then I became involved in the selling of the stones by default, because I was a mum at home. I used to work for South African Airways, and then I was a mum at home, and my father was running the Hewan Zewdi mine in Malawi, in the Ncheo province that Eric did all the wonderful marketing on. And so it was my job to try and market the gemstones. So we did you'll find this interesting, we did a trial run with the Signet Group over 20 years ago, which was at the time, Signet's H. Samuels, Ernest Jones, Leslie Davis, Zales. They took the ruby and we had it made into rings for them. They categorically said they would put the rings in their window as natural Malawi ruby. So all these rings were made and they were packaged up as if you were selling to QVC, all had to be documented. It's quite a procedure. When it came to the final crunch with the powers that be at Signet, they said they would no longer put them in the window as natural Malawi ruby. They wouldn't say anything about the location, anything about them being natural, because it would reflect on all the other stones that they were selling. People would start asking questions. So that was a huge disappointment. And obviously that was a long time ago. We then, because the shipping, the manufacture, the stones that were coming out of the ground were coming via the UK to be processed to see what was worth cutting and what wasn't worth cutting. We soon realised that as a small island, we didn't have the capability to sell the amount that needed to be sold to benefit the the mine people, the workers and what have you. So we got together with Columbia Gem House. We were introduced to Eric Braunwart and one of his good friends, John Emmett. John Emmett is renowned, what would you call him, scientist. I think he worked on the space program. Anyway, he was really good at heat treating. He managed to heat treat the Malawi sapphire. So that worked really well. Before that, we managed to build one of the schoolhouses in Malawi through one of the mine managers. His fiancée was raising funds and doing a great deal of work. Trying to recall his name now and I can't. Anyway, but they basically started it. Then, as I said, we got together with Eric, we mined it and they marketed it. And through that, Eric raising more funds and what have you, few more classrooms were built. They're sort of brick structures. He put in a water pump and also started a tree growing program to replenish the earth and what have you, and it worked really, really well. So that was my involvement with Eric. And then about 17 years ago, we decided to bring the product back into the UK so that it wasn't just being marketed in the US, we could do it in the UK. And through that, I held an office at the London Diamond Bourse. So it gave me a base and allowed me to sell to the trade, which is what I do. So I actually sell the whole of Eric's inventory is available through us in London, and we sell to not just to the UK, but into Europe as well. And that is the story of me. I'm still here.
That's so great, as you came a long way, you know. What an experience. I can't wait to, you know, to reach those.
I would say, though, through Eric as well, that the Malawi mine was a prototype, I think, for ethical gemstone mining, what could be done with the people, for the people. And, you know, to set up a facility, it was very well done in the coloured gemstone market anyway, certainly not diamonds, but in the coloured gemstone market. And then, so what I didn't mention was that as I work in the London Diamond Bourse, I'm also on their board and I'm their ethics representative. So if anybody comes across and needing anything that to do with ethical mining or ethical gemstones, then they approach me. And I sell the Canada Mark diamonds from the Dominion Diamond Company, which has just, I think, been taken over, and they're about to start mining again. And they're one of the only mines I've found that will trace back to the mine itself. And they have a program that's called the Canada Mark program, where they issue a certificate number, and as well as that number, the GIA number, Gemological Institute of America certificate for the diamond, both those numbers are laser inscribed on the girdle of the gemstones, and they can be traced back as well. So,
oh, that's so cool. That must be a new technology, because I work as a quality control for Blue Nile jewelry and signet, so gemologist. So I know they have the, you know, the laser encryptions inside the stone, so we can match the certification. So now they can trace with that, you mean? They can be traceable, the source?
Yes, it can. And Hewan, it's been available for the last, I'd say, 3-4 years, maybe. It's been around quite a while. And before that, there was a different company called Polar Bear that were doing it. And there's also another program I'm looking into at the moment, and they're called Zebra Diamonds, and their diamonds are coming from Botswana.
The Botswana, yeah, the Zebra diamond. It's also traceable, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. You work on the diamond board. I'm a diamond graduate from GIA too as well, so I grade a lot of diamonds, but I love the color stones. That's where my heart is, you know.
I know. I think, you know, you get more bang for your buck with coloured stones.
Yeah, varieties, fun beauties, you know.
Yeah. So that's me. I feel I've talked about myself the whole time, but really it's about the people who you support and what you give back. And I know Eric does a great deal of that. I wish he was on this now, because one of his success stories as well is with the Navajo, as you probably know, and what he's been doing with the garnets there and raising money, and certainly providing a lot of PPE, especially with what's been going on with the COVID situation.
For the miners, yeah, I heard about it. So your company is based in the UK, and you represent some of Eric's fully, or other?
Fully. I only have Eric stones. Some of my family stones from a long time ago from Malawi, such as pink tourmaline and some other sapphire, but 99% of my product is from Eric.
Okay, so everything, whatever the efforts and the give back programs goes out from your company through Eric from Columbia Gem House. Okay, nice. Yeah, I know about Columbia Gem House. They have a lot of. He's a great, role model for us. So we are like the new. I am the new ones. Most of our group are more experienced than me. I just had the passion. So we will take the same kind of roles pretty much in Ethiopia, since it's new, in the gem industry. So based on the knowledge I have, the experience, and the conscious and the mission I am going with these gem traders pretty much to support artisanal miners in the ground. And I know how much being knowledgeable into the gem trade is very important, to know the values, and knowing the materials. That's one thing I can assist in the ground here currently. I'm hopefully, the COVID has preventing us a lot of things, and COVID-19 has really affected the colored gemstone supply worldwide, globally. So we are the one now as a group also, and some other traders like us, is where we can move. If we don't move this supply chain, and it's kind of very difficult based on the research I've done with the artisanal miners. They are not able to sell their materials, because if we're not buying them and we're not selling, they're shifting to a different kind of jobs pretty much. So far, that's what I've seen due to the pandemic. And our support will go if we're buying and buying them and giving them some kind of survival means of, until everything goes back to normal. It's like we're going to be playing a major role onto, moving the supply chain, I guess, currently. It's becoming quite difficult for the miners. Restriction, they can't go to the mine. And most of the miners, like, I have interviewed so many of them, and they're like, it's daily thing, they mine, they get a small stones, and then they will sell it to the exporters. And if there was a few months of restriction, some of them now they have given up, and then they're going back to the mine. But the government's still restricting wearing, masks and pretty much precautions, But other than that, it's a surviving means for them. So they have to go back to the mine sites. We have Wello opals are back, most of them. Some of the miners, they have shifted their job into other labor thing. And the south area is not open. We have also political situation and a conflict in Ethiopia, which is really affecting the business.
I was just going to ask you about the political situation. How has that impacted? What do they have free access to social media, or has that been clamped down on this sort of thing?
Currently, it's getting better, but there's still a conflict. But it have affected broadly because the restriction of movement. Literally, there's a war going on in different regions, like where the sapphire mines are not operating in the Tigray area currently, near northern part of near countries regions, except Wello, where I just work with the women miners now, women lapidars associations. Those are operating slowly, and there is still a restriction coming to the city for the miners. And southern areas are just going back to like morganite mine and some tourmaline, but there's still, tribal conflict, all those things, restriction on movement because it's not stable fully yet. So that hasn't affected the market. And I mean, the only way now is, I think, for us is to move this supply chain is by doing what we're doing currently and going virtually and selling online, supplying our gemstone, for our designers. And we're creating a new system like VirtuGem. I think you heard about VirtuGem. They have created a way for the miners to supply direct. So digital technology, but that's not available everywhere. But where we have it is, we can take advantage of that and we can move the supply chain, I guess.
Good. And you haven't had any problems with exporting the goods?
We did have some problems reaching out the miners because there's internet issues. Our government will shut down internet whenever there is major conflict because of messaging and this Facebook and stuff. So they'll shut down, they have some internet control. So we do via phone calls, networking. Some people go to the mine site. We have some lapidaries, they go there, they have a major network through the phone calls. And then they don't have internet access as much, or they are not knowledgeable as using a smartphone. So I was asking the women miners and if I can get them like a cell phone and they're able somebody to teach them, so I can talk to them, I only talk to them over the phone, but sometimes it's good to see the people and talk and know their concern, face to face. So they can use Telegram, WhatsApp, and so that's one thing I'm going to be doing actually for those region areas, like give them a couple of smartphones, send out there. So as association, and then they can use and we can communicate. Communication is a key, or especially with the situation we're facing. It's a double crisis. We got the COVID and then we have war, technology issues where the rural areas, where the miners areas, and then they cannot reach. So we have to wait like few days. We send somebody's gone there. Like there is a tourmaline now. I was talking to some miners. I have to wait a few days until somebody come back, to get the answer. So it's been quite a challenge.
I bet. Okay. So, Stuart, where are we now? You're hosting this. Hello?
Hello, you called me back a little bit early. You still got another 8 minutes or so in the schedule. So
we've been chitter-chattering. Have you been listening?
Absolutely have, yes. I was trying to also put a little bit out on social media at the same time so that we can encourage a few more people to come along to the event.
See,
it's been fascinating to hear the
multitask.
I do my best. It's been fascinating to hear about the different situations and your different routes into the industry. And I think it's been a really good chat so far. So I guess we should try and wrap up in the last 5 minutes or so with a little bit of thoughts on maybe a little bit on what you're going to be doing during the course of the event. So we're here until Saturday, so we've got a couple more days. And where will people find you, and what will you be doing during those couple of days? Hewan?
So I will be present throughout the event until I think the 14th. People can book for us. I mean, they can go ahead and register. Still is open and we're available. And there is sessions and our programs where we will be available. Time is available on the site, and we have Instagram. They can DM us or they can reach us through. They can go to our website. We have not fully opened our online shop, but we can, supply our list of items, and they can email us. And mostly, this is the best opportunity right now to find us coming to the Ethical Gem Fair, on the virtual one. I think that's what we're gonna be. And people, they can book their spot, and if they want to have private conversation regarding any kind of Ethiopian gemstone supply. Beside what we supplying opal and emerald, and there is a variety of bulk where we can connect like miners to the buyers as well. That's what I'm working on as well.
That sounds fascinating, Ewan. Do you think there's anything that as a group we could do to support you and your miners?
I mean, sure, yeah, we were trying to get like, you know, open a market pretty much, because Ethiopia is still new. I mean, we're introducing, and there is a lot of varieties to pretty much to go out on a different market. We've been on the US. That will help, you know, and trying to create a market for the miners direct, you know, like I can supply some items, but not all gemstones, you know. So we can connect some miners into big buyers of different kind of a variety of gemstones. I'll be listing all those into my website soon, and I can present, you know, what's available into the country. There's a huge resource available. I mean, now I'm here and seeing it, you know, it's not like coming and going. There is a huge opportunity to connect the miners to into new market pretty much. That will be helpful.
Well, wrapping up, my gemstones are available either via email or on Eric's site. There's a link to a Dropbox that has thousands of stones on, so if anybody wants anything, they can go to those two sites, email me, and like you, I'll be available at my table if anyone wants to come and chat until Saturday evening, our time, UK time.
Okay. Well, very nice talking to you.
And you too. And you too.
Thank you.
Great. Well, thank you very much for that. That was a really quick half an hour. That whizzed by that time. So it was really good to get some insight into what each of you are doing. And then I would encourage people now to get into the lounge. I guess we'll all be hanging out at our lounge tables for the next few hours. And if people want to come along and chat with us and ask us more questions, that would be excellent. But in the meantime, thank you very much. And I'm now going to bring this session to a close.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. See you in the lounge. Bye.
See you in the lounge. Okay.
See you there.